So the project we're working on right now is our classic brioche dough. I'm working with all cold ingredients, so my milk, my eggs, and my lemon zest are right from the fridge at about 40 degrees. I'm gonna add those to my Heusler spiral mixer. To make cleanup a little easier, if I pull the head back a little bit, I can add all of my dry ingredients, which consists of my yeast, my flour, my sugar, and my salt. And for this project, you for sure want to use an osmotolerant yeast. We're going to mix this for a total of 4 minutes on first speed before we add our plasticized butter. When mixing an enriched dough, you want to make sure to properly plasticize butter. The concept is to add a cold ingredient so our friction doesn't increase the temperature, so that we add a cold butter. So the best thing to do is just take a rolling pin and pound it till it's nice and soft. So once we finished mixing on first speed, we take 1/4 of our fat, add it to our bowl, and you can put it into 2 spots. This will act like a lubricant and will start to tenderize the dough. And the trick is you don't want to add it too fast, so the key is patience. And what you want to pay attention to is that you don't want to add the next bit of butter before the bowl is completely clean. Once our bowl is nice and clean, we can add our next addition of fat. And continue mixing till the bowl once again is clean. So the nice thing is having a spiral mixer is that the dough's development is much more gentle and doesn't create as much friction as if you were to have a vertical mixer. These Heusler mixers are designed for a small kitchen, for your home, and I think they just do a fantastic job in regards to the development of your dough without having to increase and create a lot of heat. So once our bowl is clean again, we can start to look at our dough, and we can start to see that we're starting to get some very nicely developed gluten, and it's ready for the next addition of fat. So to check our gluten development, we take a piece of dough and we rotate it in our fingers and gently elongate that membrane till we can see that we've got a very well developed membrane, which tells me that the dough has been mixed ideally and it's ready for the next phase. So when we have an ideal development, take the dough out of the bowl and we work it into a nice, smooth, round ball. And then we wrap it in a plastic film. And place it in the freezer for 6 hours, and then into the fridge for an additional 8 hours. So the next day when we get to our brioche project, I'd recommend taking the dough and leaving it out for about 20 minutes till it softens a little bit. Then we can unwrap it and put it into our dough divider plate. If you don't have one of these, you can just divide it by hand like any other dough. And what we're trying to do is, for this particular project, is get 80-gram units. The dough will feel very cold during this phase, so you gotta make sure you press it in here nice and evenly. So after we've divided our dough, we can take it out of the dividing plate. And again, if the dough feels a little too cold, don't hesitate to cover it with a plastic film. Allow it to warm up just a little bit and make shaping maybe a little easier. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to work these into round balls. So compress, make a little bridge, and then work them nice, round, and smooth. And then we're going to place them onto a parchment lined sheet pan, and we're going to let them bench rest for about 20 minutes. So coming back to our brioche, we're going to lightly dust the top with a little bit of flour so that they don't stick. And then the next step is going to be repeated for the 3 products we're going to make. One of them is going to be just a round ball inside of a disposable brioche tart. And I'm just going to reshape them and place them seam side down into this. And then the other ones are going to be the same thing, round ball, just spaced off on a parchment lined sheet pan. Then I'm going to set them aside and let them proof for about an hour, nice and slow. And then we'll make our little tarts and our little specialty Swiss rolls. These are final shape at this point. So after they've doubled in size, I'm gonna brush it with a little egg wash. My egg wash consists of 2 eggs, 1 yolk, a pinch of salt. Whisk it up real nice so that we don't have any thick egg white proteins floating around. Makes it a whole lot easier to brush on. Then I get my fingers full of little egg wash and I make a hole in the center. Now these can be used for sweet or even a savory filling if you want to. I take some cinnamon sugar, sprinkle around the outer perimeter. Then I'm going to fill it with some hazelnut filling. Then I add my chocolate batons. Stick them in from the side as well. Can never have enough chocolate. And then I finish it off with a little bit of crumb topping. Now after I have them ready like this, I like to let them sit for like another 15 minutes or so the dough can relax a little bit. Otherwise what tends to happen is when you go into the oven, it's going to sort of lift the whole product and things tend to spill over the top. I would bake it at 350 to 360 degrees in a convection oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. So once these are ready, we want to brush them with our egg wash. And then we're going to top them off. And traditionally, you would leave them just plain. I like to get a little bit more accents on there, so I like working with Swedish pearl sugar. That looks really nice, gives you a little bit of a crunch on top. And a nice alternative could also be just a straight cinnamon sugar. So what we're going to do for these are going to be Swiss national holiday rolls. I'm going to brush them with a little egg wash again. And then we're going to sprinkle some pearl sugar on them. Then we're going to use a pair of scissors. And we're going to make cuts this way, opposite, and then we're going to connect the corners. And you have to cut fairly deep when you do this so that these wings can literally open up and form that little Swiss cross in the center.